President Trump sounding off on the judiciary this weekend, including judges that have been blocking deportations and the role due process is playing in his immigration agenda.
We need judges that are not going to be demanding trials for every single illegal immigrant.
We have a massive emergency overall. It's an overall emergency on immigration.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
Attorney and president of American Frontier, Mehek Cooke, joins me now. Mehek, good morning to you. So we talk a lot about judges these days, and some of them trying to block portions of what the president is trying to do. But what doesn't get discussed as much is that now that Trump is president again, he gets to make his own slate of judicial nominations. And he just made his first one last week. Whitney Hermendorfer of the Sixth Circuit, the Wall Street Journal, had a ton of praise for her in a recent op-ed that they just wrote. So how can these judicial nominations shape the direction that the country will go in? I mean, President Trump gets a second bite at the apple here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I think this is such an important question today. President Trump is defending the rule of law. So when you talk about judicial nominations, this is the first line of defense for Americans today. We're watching activism like I've never seen before in my life. You have judges that are thwarting the Article 2 powers of the president. So that means they're stopping deportations of MS-13 thugs. This is within the president's executive power. And as we're continuing to see, it's not just MS-13 and gangs and rapists that are on these flights today. We're also seeing a lot of these judicial activists trying to stop President Trump from doging government, trying to stop President Trump from every single promise he made to the American people, allowing for transgenderism. So most of these cases are going to have to go to the Supreme Court because that's the last line of defense today. Most of these lower courts are continuing to show that judicial activism is the only thing that they're going to do to continue to push a Democrat agenda. And it's startling today.
Yeah, when it comes to illegal immigration, he says we need judges that are not going to demand trials for every single illegal immigrant, but he will ultimately follow what the Supreme Court has to say. He wants to get illegal immigrants out of this country, deported as quickly as possible. But a Trump-appointed judge just ruled against his use of the Alien Enemies Act. So where do you see that going?
Well, I think the Supreme Court has to be very clear here today, and they've already ruled once that President Trump had the executive authority to use the Alien Enemies Act. We can't give every single illegal alien a judicial process that allows for due process. So what I think needs to happen is you have illegal aliens that get limited notice in their language, according to the Supreme Court, so whether it's Mexican or Venezuelan, and then after that, we need to start deportation hearings, and I think this needs to be done in the masses. Individual deportations are not going to work. We don't have enough immigration judges. Our system is already backlogged. So there needs to be leeway when we know that there is a MS-13 gang member or terrorists that have been designated by the president through his executive order. This is very clear today. Right. I think a longer due process is not necessary for somebody that has already been designated a terrorist. It's a completely different line of legal proceedings that need to follow.
Understood. Okay, switching gears here, and I mean in a big way. The trial for rapper Sean Diddy Combs begins today with jury selection 8 months after he was arrested in New York on 5 different charges. And the charges and accusations lobbed against him have been horrific. He has pleaded not guilty. But what do people need to know ahead of this trial beginning about this and where this is all going?
Well, I think this is one of the most high-profile cases, and if I have to look at this, I think it's Epstein on steroids today because people have already seen how terrible Epstein was. This is just another example of a celebrity that has crossed lines, and I think the most important thing is going to be voir dire, which is jury selection. This is an opportunity for the judge, the defense attorney, and the prosecution to look at both sides and to pull jurors that are going to specifically look at these violations and determine if there was a conspiracy, racketeering, and sex trafficking. And the most important witness is going to be Cassie, his ex-girlfriend. There's a video out there. He beat her. He hit her. And I think that that's also going to be very telling. So I think this is an awful trial, but shoes are going to fall off because I'm going to see more and more people from Hollywood that are going to be exposed through this.
Wow, yeah, so certainly something to watch. And a judge said that that video can be played in court, so you have to wonder how that image will play in the minds of the jury once it is selected. The trial is expected to last 8 to 10 weeks, so we will certainly be following it. Mahek, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.